Welcome to Sisters in Company Talking About It live show. Hosted by me, Dr. Sharon Cradle and Sherelle Higgins. We will be discussing intriguing, intricate, inspirational, informative, and intelligent topics with our individual twists and talents.
We will present real stories, real solutions, and engage in real talk.
So we invite you to be our company every Sunday afternoon at 3:00 p.m. as we focus on transcendent thinking that will move you forward. You become the company you keep. What company do you keep?
Oh yeah, we are biological sisters by way of the south side of Chicago. So get ready to keep company with us and our guests as we talk about it.
Just add a little bit of old school flair in an authentic and fresh manner.
Yes, welcome to Sisters in Company Talking About It. I am your favorite talk show host, Sherelle Higgins. Yes, also known sometimes as Triple S.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, my team at work called me Shamrock Shorty Supervisor.
Oh, is that right? All right, now that's a new one.
So see, Triple S is everywhere.
Wow.
And I am your host that like to give it to you straight with no chaser.
And I'm going to give it to you straight with a little bit of chaser. So just get ready for this particular show. We're asking everyone to make sure you have something to jot down some notes, because the ladies we have that's going to be on our segment, Let's Talk About It, they're going to be here to present some information that can benefit everyone. And so today's scripture is 1 John 4. Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirit to see whether they are from God. For many false prophets have gone out into the world. And this scripture for me today is so important, and it leads us into our topic today of what burns my soul. What burns my soul. Recently, I was in a conversation with someone about Barack Obama's tenure as president of the United States. I was raving about how I felt he was a man of the people, a man of action, and a man of conviction. This person in turn stated that President Obama did not do anything, and they emphasized anything for black people. So I followed up by asking the person, what exactly do you mean? The person said he could have done more. I then asked, like what? What didn't he do that you thought he should have done? The person said he could have done more. Then tried to change the conversation. I said, hold on. Let's just discuss a few of the many policies and actions that he did that disproportionately benefited African Americans. Like 12. So in other words, what I'm going to give you some factual receipts, because you can't present any receipts to me about what he did not do. So let's talk about what he actually did.
Talk about it.
He had a focus on education, K-12 initiatives. He was trying to do the free college initiative. He helped our HBCUs, our historically black colleges and universities, with funding. And so every category, before I go on, every category I'm going to talk about, African Americans are included in this. Right. He worked on women's and children's health. He did the Hungry Free Kids Act, and where he set nutritional standards. He did equal rights for women, gays, lesbians, people of color, especially black and Latino young boys. His policies that lessened the prison population would lead to a significant drop in African Americans being incarcerated. And of course, he enacted the Affordable Care Act, the health care bill for all, and those parents whose children are working in places where their companies don't carry health insurance, the parents are able to carry the children until the age of 26. So I say, what is it that that's just a few. I can't even go down and name all of the accomplishments. So we just are a people that just has to do better in gathering our facts.
Absolutely.
I actually considered it that person who said that was either acting, and I'm going to steal some words from Dr. King, was either acting in sincere ignorance or conscientious stupidity. And so when we start talking, we're either acting in conscientious stupidity or sincere ignorance. And so there's a plethora of information in this world for us to grab onto. We don't need to just say things and don't have any receipts or any backup for the information that we're presenting, because we are smart people. We are intelligent. So I had to think to myself, what was the motive? And so that particular person, when I got finished having a conversation, they were like, okay, never mind. Because, and it wasn't an argument, it was just, what's your receipts? You keep saying that he didn't do anything like what? What did you want him to do that he did not do? And until you walk in his shoes, then I just suggest you just kind of be quiet.
Well, that's interesting, because I wasn't even going to use that for what burned your soul. But as you was talking, my soul was over here burning.
Yes.
Because while we sitting around expecting somebody else to do something for us, you should have asked them, what are you doing for yourself? And what have you done for other black people? And let's get that conversation going, because we are quick to point out somebody else's what they could have, should have done. But we sitting back waiting on them to do it instead of doing it for ourselves. And until we take responsibility for our own actions, and we take responsibility for our own communities, and we take responsibilities for our own families, we cannot expect somebody else to do it. And just over the weekend, for the first time, I watched the Snoop Dogg show where he's the football coach.
Oh, really?
And I had never seen the show before. It was absolutely hilarious. They were dealing with the inner city kids. They were dealing with disadvantaged kids, and they were talking to the kids on those kids' level and with the way that those kids can understand and relate. And in the process, Snoop found one little boy's father, and had the father come and interact. The father hadn't interacted with the child for 2 years, and had the father come, and there was another coach there talking to the father, and just giving it to him straight, like, okay, you talking all that trash and talking about football, forget football. How about you just talk to him about being his father? How about you just call him up and see how his day went? How about you stop all this shucking and jiving and be a present father? So until we start doing that, we can't wait. We can't put somebody else down and say that they didn't do enough for us. We need to do some stuff for ourselves.
Yes, and I just believe that we as a community, we could just be so much further ahead if we agreed on some things and came together and had real conversation. And I'm not saying that you have to agree with everything he did, but everything that he did had a disproportional impact or benefit on the African American or people of color. And the fact that he even tried to speak out against some of the police brutality when he said Trayvon Martin, had he had been his child, would have looked just like him. It would have been his child. So I struggle with that. I struggle with naysayers anyway. And so I realized that, with that person, I don't think that I made any headway, but I'm hoping that person at least went back and did, just do a Google search, learn to read, learn to look up some things before we just start saying things about people that's just not factual. And let's work and operate in facts, because everything is not fake news. Believe it or not,
what?
Everything is not fake news. And President Obama was not fake news. And so I would say to everyone that's listening, whatever artifacts you have, whatever information you can download, save it. Put it in a safe for generations to come, because with those kind of conversations, people will very easily try to erase his legacy. And it's up to us as an African-American community and just the people of the United States. It doesn't have to be about race to really archive his significance in everything that he tried to do, not only with just African Americans, but this whole economy. And had it not been for Barack Obama, I'm just not so sure where we would be at this particular time. So that was the thing that burned my soul.
and let me just say one other thing while they talking about what he didn't do. He brought those gas prices down.
My goodness.
And
you see
they
him
on the
now?
rise again, but I don't see nobody talking about that. It's costing us $50, $60, $70 to fill up our gas tank, and we didn't have that when he was the president. So, we poor. We already know our status, and we already know we can't afford gas. And so for somebody to say he didn't do anything,
I mean, they said that was an absolute word. It was absolute. He became the president of the United States, so he did something.
But what? Come on now.
Yes.
Come on now.
And Sherelle, she talked about these gas prices, and this wasn't even part of burning my soul, but it is. We went in New York this weekend, and it's been a long time since I've driven to New York or even been to New York, because it's just not a place that I just really like to visit. But we went. We had a great time. But getting into New York, first of all, the tolls from here to New York, unbelievable.
Absolutely.
I was trying to count how much we were spending on tolls, but I lost count after a while.
That's right.
And then to get into New York through the Holland Tunnel, it was $15.
That's right.
And then we got turned around, so it took us out of the tunnel and made us come back around into the tunnel. And so we had to pay another $15.
Oh, my Jesus.
And of course, parking, eating, everything. It's just an expensive place. And so...
and New Yorkers need to be mad that they charging that kind of money and they not fixing their streets with it.
Oh, my goodness,
that
the
they
roads.
not doing anything to, help the roads and the infrastructure, and they taking your tax dollars and they still are not doing what they need to do. So,
but it was a good visit.
Don't get
we
me
were
started.
celebrating my husband's birthday, so it was a good visit.
Happy birthday, brother-in-law.
We went to see The Iceman Cometh, starring Denzel Washington and some other very well-known stars. When I tell you it was phenomenal, it wasn't a play that was about dancing and singing. It was all dialogue, and they were phenomenal. And believe it or not, it was a 3-hour and 50-minute play.
Oh, wow.
And when I tell you Denzel showed up, they showed up like they were on the big screen. It was amazing.
3 hours and 50 minutes? That's almost 4 hours?
Yeah, so they kept, they had intermissions and everything, but it was just a very, it was
nap.
a period play that they brought back to life. And so it was very good. So if you're in New York, it's only going to be playing for 14 weeks. I think it's something that you will enjoy, and, from a history standpoint. And it was, so I'm not going to tell you. You can look it up for yourself. It's called The Iceman Cometh. And so what did you all do this weekend?
Well, I had a fabulous weekend. My sister Jackie from Chicago. Look, we always say "my" like it ain't, like she's not our joint sister, but whatever. And our niece, Sierra, and our nephew, Karan, and Jackie's friend, Libya, they all came here. They drove here. They are in the process of driving home. I called them about 3 hours after they left and asked them if they were home yet. It's a 12-hour drive. It's usually
you're trying to torture them.
That's right, because it's usually me doing all of the driving back and forth. So, yes, I am taking full advantage. And I know they listening right now, so that's good. So we took our niece down to Virginia State because we are trying to get her to become a Trojan.
Yes, another
and
Trojan.
One good thing about our visit is that she said that all of the college visits she's been on, Virginia State was leading the pack.
Oh, wow.
So I'm happy about that.
State,
and so we're going to work with Virginia State and see if we can get her some legacy funds and some SAT funds and some 4.1 funds and some other kind of funds so we can get her here.
Yes.
And then she can see how it is to live. And one of the things I was sharing with her is you want to come on the East Coast. And the reason you want to come on the East Coast is no matter what's going on in this country, they're going to take care of this Washington, D.C. area. When all of these other businesses are cutting jobs and letting people go, we're going to be hiring people in Washington, D.C. So they're going to take care of the economy in this area. So, it'll be good for her. I also had an opportunity to meet some other fellow Trojans who were currently in school. And I met a young lady who is going into cybersecurity. I exchanged phone numbers with her, told her to keep in touch with me so that we can get her into the workforce, because one of the things I'm hearing on my job is that we don't have any minorities that's interested in cybersecurity. Well, look at there. I wasn't there but 5 seconds before I met somebody interested in cybersecurity. And so I'm going to see what I could do to help that young lady get her internship, which would then turn into a permanent job for her when she come out of school. And so that's what I'm doing to help the African American community while somebody talking about Obama ain't do nothing.
But you know what's so exciting about this conversation, and my sister Kiki posted this, and I had to sit back and think about it. There's 12 people, I guess
11 of us
who have touched the soil of Virginia State University.
Absolutely.
That is amazing.
That's our family
members.
school. Absolutely.
My goodness. And I'd never thought about it from that perspective. And so I started naming people. I was like, well, I think I know all 11 of them.
You should.
I'm like,
she said, I think I know all
about?
of them.
Who is she talking about? So, yeah, Virginia State has been good to our family. And
absolutely.
So, yeah, it started us on this journey, and we're just so blessed to have experienced Virginia State University.
I wore a shirt down there that said, Virginia State University changed my life. Mm-hmm. When I tell you that t-shirt got a lot of comments,
yes.
People wanted to buy one, wanted to know where I got it from. Yeah. I was able to take a picture with the president of Virginia State University.
Who is from Chicago.
Mm-hmm. And he said to me, I need to take a picture with you with that shirt on. Yes. He said, because Virginia State changed my life too.
It did. Yes.
And just running into other alumni of Virginia State University, it was just great. You know, just running into people in the hallway who also had kids there, who, you know, was just down there visiting, hanging out, supporting the kids, the university. It was a great, great thing. And then to cap off our weekend, last night, me and 9 of my girlfriends got together in the garage of my house. And when I tell you we had a garage party, you know how you laugh so hard that your back be hurt? It was hilarious. Our younger sister Kiki, you know, all she do is order the chicken, right? So she ordered some chicken, which, you know, the chicken is always good because, you know, nobody don't have to stand over that stove and cook it. So it's always good. And then our girl Jennifer, who you're going to meet shortly, Kiki called her and Jennifer said she ordered she was going to get some Popeyes. We was like, no, don't get no Popeyes. We got plenty of chicken. She was like, it's too late. I just spent $30 on some Popeyes chicken.
That chicken.
She brought that chicken over there. When I tell you, when everybody left last night, it was not one piece of chicken left. We had plenty of chicken. We had plenty of laughs. We played spades. Some people was, you know, accused of cheating. I don't know what that's about. Me and my partner, we had 300, and the people we were playing had 200, and I don't know what that was about. They was trying to act like I didn't know how to keep score, but I knew what the score was, and we just had a great time. So yes. It's always a good time when you can hang out, you know, with your people, and, you know, just let your head down and just be who you are and just be in a no judgment zone. Yes. It's just a great thing.
Yes, and of course, I cannot leave out that I saw my girl Lorraine. She came and had dinner with us in New York because she's from New York, and of course she's a Trojan. And so it was just a good weekend, and we just got back about an hour and a half ago, so we're ready to rock and roll. So that was what burns my soul.
That was her soul that was burned. I ain't tell y'all what burned my soul.
So what burned your soul?
I'll tell them next time.
Okay.
But I hate liars.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes. I think a lot of people can attest to that. Yes.
But a lot of people do it, and especially adults. I can't stand for adults to lie. I'm just like, you know what? You don't even have to talk about it if you're just going to lie. Mm-hmm. Just don't even bring it up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So today you all are in for a treat. We have a real estate agent and a mortgage loan officer here with us today. And so when we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to jump right into that conversation. They're going to give you some great nuggets about what it is they do and why they do it and where they do it, and maybe share some tips for first-time homeowners. And so just get ready for the conversation. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes,
see you shortly.
Welcome to Sisters in Company Talking About It live show. Hosted by me, Dr. Sharon Cradle, and Sherelle Higgins. We will will be discussing intriguing, intricate, inspirational, informative, and intelligent topics with our individual twists and talents.
We will present real stories, real solutions, and engage in real talk.
So we invite you to be our company every Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock p.m. as we focus on transcendent thinking that will move you forward. You become the company you keep.
What company do you keep? Oh yeah, we are biological sisters by way of the south side of Chicago. So get ready to keep company with us and our guests as we talk about it.
Welcome to Sisters in Company Talking About It live show. Hosted by me, Dr. Sharon Cradle, and Sherelle Higgins. We will be discussing intriguing, intricate, inspirational, informative, and intelligent topics with our individual twists and talents.
We will present real stories, real solutions, and engage in real talk.
So we invite you to be our company every Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock p.m. as we focus on transcendent thinking that will move you forward. You become the company you keep.
What company do you keep? Oh yeah, we are biological sisters by way of the south side of Chicago. So get ready to keep company with us and our guests as we talk about it. Welcome back, welcome back.
Yes, welcome.
Look who we have with us today. To my right and your left, I have Marquita Aldrich Woods. And then to her right, we have Jennifer Dorn. Marquita is a loan officer. Some of you all may know her as the Queen of Mortgages, and most recently as the Educator of the Year.
Yes.
And then to her right, we have Jennifer Dorn, agent for the people. You got to do the 4 with the numbers and fingers. You got to get that right.
Yeah.
And she is a realtor. And Jennifer and Marquita, they work together a lot. And Jennifer and I met because we live in the same community. We met about 15 years ago, and we just kind of clicked and been hanging out ever since. And I met Marquita several years ago when I was serving as the attorney, the tax advisor, and the mortgage consultant for my younger sister. and she just kind of called me out on it. And so, of course, that relationship was love at first sight because she has lots of sarcasm like I do. So, so welcome, ladies.
Yeah, welcome. Before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go into the conversation about real estate and loan.
And how, and in that, telling us about yourself, tell us how you went into the field that you're in.
Mm-hmm. Marquita?
Okay, I was fired from my job, so just right off the bat. That's how I became a loan officer. No, all jokes aside. So, as mentioned, my name is Marquita Woods, affectionately known as the Queen of Mortgages. And yes, I have self-appointed myself as such because we are queens, and you have to just already, tote your own boat. But seriously, I was released from the Washington Mystics. So my background is actually basketball. I used to think I could hoop. And I played in the WNBA.
Yes, she did.
And I went into we had training camp after 2 days, and I had a gimpy kind of leg, and the coach came over and was like, you know what it is. I mean, real gangster, right? Like, yeah, I kind of do. For real? Like, it's like that? Okay. So we went in the office, and they were like, hey, we're going in a different direction. And I was kind of like, well, you could have let me know that before I just did that 3-hour practice right there. But I ain't going to trip. Can I still get the Jay-Z ticket? That's all I'm saying. Y'all said y'all had tickets. This is the MCI or Verizon Center or whatever it's called. I deserve them tickets. Going to use me for the practice knowing they were going to cut me. So anyway, I ended up getting cut from the Mystics, and my next profession actually was was a loan officer. So those have been my two jobs as a professional basketball, and then right into helping people buy homes. Yeah.
Okay, Jennifer.
Well, my background is I kind of did a lot of freelancing and entrepreneurial businesses well before starting real estate. I like to say that I was one of those weird kids growing up. I mean, I was
She
fly
still
and I
is.
was cool. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I always wanted to go into real estate. Real estate was always a passion. I'm going to talk to the doctor over here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm listening.
Sorry, we're listening
Because
too.
I believe when I was younger, my teens, I used to watch those infomercials, and I was like, I want to get into real estate. Well, anyways, fast forward, I ended up going into real estate. I am an associate broker with Berkshire Hathaway. I've been doing this for about 17 years now, I guess, helping making home ownership a reality for a lot of families out there. My very first client. Long story, won't go into it, but because I was willing to really stand in the trenches and go through and make sure to get him to a point of home ownership, and it was a challenge. It was very challenging. I was then labeled as agent for the people because I really do have a passion to help people.
Yes.
It's true though.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, we have a call already. You won't mind if I take it before
No,
we
let's
go
take
to
it.
the
Call.
Take
Hey.
Bring
call.
it.
Better not be Jackie.
On the road.
That's all I'm saying.
By the way, they
Well,
do cheat.
The caller dropped off, so maybe they'll call back. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Don't be scared.
So what I like about it, and I know these young ladies as well through my sister, is I love the fact that there is a focus on veterans, and I think that's a good place to start, considering where we live in the DMV. And can you all talk about where your services are provided, what state, and about the veterans programs, and any other thing that you want to share with us?
You want to start?
Okay,
with that?
yeah, I'll definitely jump in. I went on a tangent earlier. So my office is actually in Woodbridge, but we do mortgage loans in Virginia, Maryland, and D.C. Okay. We're soon to be adding Georgia and Michigan, so be on the lookout on that. See, just drop that right here live on the show.
There it is.
But
Heard it here
most
first.
of my clients are veterans or active duty, and we always want to say, thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
Or first-time buyers, and sometimes a combination thereof. So, a veteran may be buying their house for the very first time, and as you mentioned, it was just very important in living in this area. I mean, I'm just patriot, right? I didn't serve or anything like that. I noticed that our veterans weren't being taken care of. They're being targeted, and when you think of somebody being targeted, it's not necessarily a positive thing, right? When we think about hitting a target, we're gonna knock it out, right, or hit a target or whatever that is, or being targeted for lending services, but not being provided the true information to make an informed decision, to actually know what the benefit means. But it's a group of people here that have a loan that is no money down. Let's get them in these deals, and you see stuff online, the rates look like it's super low, but it's all these points on the back end. So some years back, I just decided that was going to be one of my primary focuses, and that would be also a way of actually giving back and serving those who've actually served us.
That's awesome.
And then on the real estate side, like Marquita mentioned, a great portion of my business has always been military. I serve the Northern Virginia area, and we are adding DC very soon, within the next couple months. But they all serve. Their families, the veterans, and in particular, they serve and their families serve. And again, like Marquita said, thank you all for your service. And this area is so concentrated with so much military, whether they're active or they're retired veterans, that they in most cases, a lot of times it's the family, the kids, the wife. We just worked with the family, and congratulations. They just today ratified in this crazy market that we're in. She was 8 months pregnant.
Yep.
Husband was in Africa.
Yep.
Didn't know. He came back and surprised her. She was expecting him to be back in May. Came home last month. They just had the baby. Well, actually, no, a couple weeks ago. Just had the baby last week. The husband, the veteran, their dog, house hunt, and that brand new 1 week old baby looking for houses. And so there is a lot of care. And when they are ready to go and it's time to relocate, there's a lot that goes into that. And being able to support them when, because a lot of times they're not even here and they're buying homes sight unseen, or they'll come in town specifically for a specific period of time. So you have to be able to jump right in, find out what their need is, and serve them. Because to me, I like to say this is our opportunity to give back and serve our military. So thank you all again. It is a combination of what we do. You can't do it without the loan side, and like Marquita said, they are targeted. Whether it's especially with loans, there's so many programs out there or companies, I won't name any, but they are not necessarily veterans. So we just want to
veteran friendly. Yeah,
veteran
it just
friendly,
sounds
correct.
real good.
You're right.
Yeah, and what I like about the conversation is that, buying a home is stressful, buying a car is stressful, and so to meet a real estate agent and a loan officer who cares, who's passionate, who wants to give you all of the information to help you make that informed decision, it is so very important. I have to tell this story. When my husband and I came here from Fort Bragg in 2000, we came up here. I want to say we were pre-qualified, and we had maybe a check for $150,000 or something. We were riding around. We thought we were in heaven. We thought we had some money. And the agent kept taking us around to these old communities with these houses that were 20 and 28 and 30 years old that required a lot of work. And then my husband, he asked me, he said, why do you have us in these communities? Yeah. He said, because you don't have enough money.
You're falling on the button.
No,
seriously.
So think about it. You coming from, so we're thinking that's a lot of money. It's coming from Fayetteville, North Carolina, but but he didn't have the heart to say that to us initially, and so that's what I like about the conversation. You would then say, if that's all you qualify for, let's be real clear about what it is you can possibly buy.
Setting the expectation. Yes, there is definitely sticker shock when you reach the DMV.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. So that's why the consultation is very important on the front end.
Yes.
It's not about telling you whether you're a veteran, first-time home buyer, or you're just a move up, whatever the case is. The reality is we're here to tell you the facts. We're here to give you what's available to you based on where you are.
Right.
And deliver that, not what you want to hear.
That's exactly right.
It's all about, we care and we really want to make sure that we are serving you, but doing it honestly and, accurately.
So when you start working with a client, let's talk about the first-time home buyers. What are the top two things you think the first-time home buyer need to know going into the process?
From a real estate,
Yes,
as a realtor,
from both sides.
As a realtor, the first thing I need you to do is talk to the queen of mortgages, because we need to know what your buying power is. And then we can, kind of bring you into reality on what is available to you, like your experience in that price point. So even before we can really have that conversation, the first thing we need to know that you're loan worthy. And if not, work with Marquita, our team of credit counselors or whatever is necessary to get you in position to be able to purchase that home.
Yeah, so as mentioned, when we think about buying a house, for whatever reason, the natural progression is always, I'm going to talk to the realtor first. I'm going to call up an agent. I'm going to go out and start seeing houses. And no good agent is going to actually start their car, drive you around, and take you into people's homes and you can't buy them. Right? It's like taking a stranger into someone's house, not having any clue whether they have the ability to actually move forward. So the first step is actually to talk to a local and accountable loan officer.
Absolutely.
And figure out whether you are, first of all, I'm just going to keep it real. Credit worthy. What's going on with your credit? That's going to be my first conversation. And then the other part of it will be how much money you actually make to determine your buying power. And I could probably talk for a long time right now and just take over. I don't even want to do that. But, what's your credit score? how much home you can buy. That'll help us determine at that point what's the best loan program for you, and so on and so forth. But when we start thinking about what we have done for our community, like having bad credit is hurting our community.
Yes.
So if you just fix
better
your
preach
credit,
it.
you're helping the community, right?
Absolutely.
And we can help you do that, but it's like you have to be willing to take the steps to move forward. If everybody, we joked around about the educator of the year, but for real, if everybody each one teach one,
Right.
then we just gonna be
Right.
better overall. And if
Yes.
that one thing for me is just to make sure my credit is in a place that I can be empowered to have home ownership,
That's right.
which they
Yes.
tell us is the flagstone of wealth, or the
It
the
is.
cornerstone of wealth.
It is.
Then-
For the middle class.
yeah, exactly. Like,
Absolutely.
We need this to fuel our retirement, or take equity out to send our babies over to VSU or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
To get that done for them and not have them saddled with student loan debt. We have to own something.
Absolutely.
So I
Yes.
feel like right now in 2018, if you're renting, it's a choice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, because the information is out here. It's a choice, and I say effectively, you're hurting the community.
Absolutely.
Wow. And let me go ahead.
You know, but in that vein, though, sometimes that, it is a choice. And
Yes.
sometimes
Yeah.
they don't have, that is the only option, because maybe they're here for a short time. However, as she said, it is very important if you want to be part of this home ownership. And right now, that's one of the largest investment that most people will ever make in their lives.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
you are hurting the community. You are hurting the economy. if
And that's
you're not
okay.
a home-
But today you can learn how to do something about it.
Absolutely.
Right.
You
And that's
know,
why
you,
we're
you
here.
can call in and figure out if it's a credit situation or whatever it actually is to help you move forward. Then you can reach out to someone like myself or another local and accountable loan officer that can help you get back, on the right track if that's what's actually
And
needed.
you notice what she said: local and accountable.
Yes.
I
Don't
keep
miss
saying
that.
Yeah,
Local and
absolutely.
accountable.
Yes. Good job. Yeah.
And the accountable piece is loan officers being honest with prospective home buyers.
Right.
And what I'm talking about is I remember 2008, 2009.
Okay.
Yes.
And people were going into these funny loans, all kinds of things they were doing. And I'm going to tell you something. I know people who did the short loans,
Yes.
a lot of foreclosures.
interest-free loans.
Interest-free loans, just funny stuff.
So,
and
not interest free, but interest only.
I'm sorry, interest
only.
only.
Interest only,
I'm
yeah.
sorry,
It's
not
not
interest
free,
free.
'cause it's not
No,
free.
because I
Thank
was
you for the
signed up and I went. Look, I've been
Yeah.
all over that. I'm sorry. Yes, interest only.
Yeah.
And
Interest only.
I remember they were trying to talk with my husband and I about, converting our loans and all that
Okay.
stuff. And it was crazy. And I'm going to tell you something about credit. Our credit was great.
Yes.
And during that time, we tried to take advantage of the refi to refi down to 15 years. Do you know they would not give us? They would not. You know what they said?
What?
You have to miss some payments first.
Oh, wow.
You got to be in a situation where your mortgage is behind. And we were on time, great credit, great jobs, and they would not.
But the property value had tanked at that time.
But still,
what
that
it was?
wasn't even it. They told us because our
Yeah,
mortgage
so
was
they want
not
you to pay
behind.
late.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
How scary.
And so what I'm
And
saying
then when you
is
pay
the
it late,
accountable
your
piece-
credit score go down.
Right.
So when you pay it late,
Exactly.
your credit score go down.
But I bring that up to say that blew our minds.
Yes.
What do you mean? On time mortgages, payments, good credit, good jobs, and we can't refi?
You did
Yeah.
everything right.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, that
Eventually,
was
we
just
were
a
able
weird
to.
time.
It
Yeah.
was. It
And
was
it
a
really
weird
was.
time.
It affected
I survived
everyone.
through that. I mean,
Yes.
I've been doing this now for it'll be 16 years in June. Got all these gray hairs over here to show it for it or whatever. But that was a strange time, and we had created the perfect storm in our market, far as refinancing and equity, and a lot of wealth was
Yes.
was lost.
A lot of wealth
during
was
that
lost.
time, and a lot of people have not been able to recover. Unfortunately, well, I would say fortunately, the byproduct of that now is that we don't have these tricky loans.
Right.
We have much more understanding.
Yes,
We
right.
have some backstops in place because some of it was just, it was just about people's character.
That's
You
exactly
know,
right.
On the loans
Exactly
that they
right.
had people in. It was just a character thing, and if you didn't know better, it sounded good on the surface,
And a
and
lot
they
of
ran
people-
with it. So now we have licensing and different things that we probably should have had in place already for people dealing, with people's finances,
Yeah.
which is is huge. So the byproduct of that was we kind of got rid of the tricky stuff, and again, we are able to help you really make an informed decision
Absolutely.
moving forward now.
And I have a question for you about
Sure.
credit. For particularly people who are looking to buy homes for the first time,
Okay.
you often hear, and I've heard controversial comments around this. If you have debt, let's say it's credit cards, you have credit card debt, you pay it off. Are you not supposed to close the account, or are you supposed to close the account? And then how does that impact your credit score?
So I am not a credit expert.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer. But I am very good working with credit, right? See, I did that. But no, you should not close the accounts because you have different components that make up the credit score. Paying on time, the type of credit you have, the length of time that credit has been open. So
okay.
that's one of the factors that's going to, actually play into the score. So yes, it's great that you paid it off, but you just closed down history that you had.
Okay.
So this one lady, she had given us some information, and I hope she's not watching, but she had worked for the credit bureau, and she told us that the people that had the perfect credit, they did a study of like perfect credit, which is like anywhere from 800 scores, right? 850, 800, depending on which bureau it is, that they had open revolving credit, which is like your credit cards and stuff, for at least 10 years, and they never had any late payments. Those were the people that actually had perfect credit. So they've had credit cards in play, open, and they were at least open for 10 years, and they never had paid late on them. So, yes, it feels good. You're like, yes, I'm getting out of debt. I'm cutting this thing. I'm paying it off. But it's like, if you don't know the rules of the game, you kind of, throw yourself off. Now, and if you got to close it because you just don't have the discipline to use it, close the account. We'll make up some points everywhere else. But, and so it does have an impact. And in my opinion, it's like if you have pretty good credit and you pay everything off and you leave it open, then you're going to have great credit, right? But the person that's probably already got average credit and then they cut it and close it and close the account, I mean, you weren't there anyway. So it's like, it's a difference, so if that's what you need to help yourself move forward, then just go ahead and do that.
And before we take Sherelle's comment, we want to make sure that you all call in if you have any questions or comments about this topics that we're talking about today. The number is 833-202-8255. 833-202-8255.
Yes, call in. We'll take your questions. It's interesting that a lot of people don't keep up with their credit scores. And now a lot of banks on their mobile apps will let you see what your credit score is. And so click on the button. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't hurt your credit to check it. And so you can see, it'll give you a rundown of what that is. And for me, I knew that I paid my bills on time, but I had not really focused on that. And so when I checked my own credit through one of my mobile banking apps, I was shocked to see that I had 100% on time payment rate. And so it doesn't get any better than that. And so that makes me credit worthy right there, because people know there's 100% chance they're going to get their money from me and they're going to get it on time. So check your own credit. Keep up with that. And especially with all of the hacking and people using your name and your social security number, stay on top of that stuff, because you just never know until you actually need something like a house or a car that it then, is revealed to you.
And you said something earlier, Jen, about the market that we're in. Talk about the market that we're in. What do you mean by that?
Oh, we are in such a hyper market right now, meaning that the inventory is very low. Now, just to kind of give you an idea, healthy market, you're looking at about 6 months supply of inventory. And depending on the area, the community, or where you are, you can see where there's either a less than a month supply, if that, or in some cases, under 4 months supply. And I would say that's right around average. So, I mean, we have such a shortage, and that's not just for homeowners. That's for renters too. It's really challenging out here. So you find home buyers going out. It's I like to use the equation, the analogy of going to that grocery store and you see 2 gallons of milk in that display.
You need 10 people in
and
there.
10 people coming in there at the same time.
Right.
So whoever's willing, supply and demand, who's willing to pay the most is what's going to happen. So you see a lot of competing offers. People, houses right out of the gate. I mean, right now, as a whole for this DMV area, you're looking at about 21 days average. But but again, that's the DMV.
Right. Absolutely.
I have experienced less than average 3 days. My houses that I've listed has not been on the market more than 3 days. The first day we're receiving multiple offers, and then from a home buying perspective, going out with shopping with buyers, they're having to compete against multiple offers. I'm seeing escalation clauses being put in today, and what an escalation clause is, trying to escalate your offer price
Yes.
above whoever the competing person's offer is, to try to net that seller the most money in hopes that he would accept yours.
So what's the cause
So I
of that
need to
market?
sell
Is
my
that-
house right now.
I know.
Supply and demand. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Is that-
Yes,
yes.
absolutely.
Is that a good thing? Yeah.
It's a great thing for a seller.
Okay.
It's a great thing for a
Okay,
seller.
let's
so
talk.
when people say, well, hey, how's the market? It depends. Are you a buyer or are you a seller?
Yeah.
So right now it is truly a seller's market. And that's under a certain price point,
Right.
because once you get above a certain price, you see that it's a little
What is that
slower.
price
Yeah.
point?
So
Yeah,
on average for me,
yeah.
I've noticed about over 550. Again, depending on where you are, because if you talk in Arlington, well, that's the median sales price right there, about 550. But if
For a
you're saying
garage.
as a whole, the median sales price is 325.
Yeah.
So when you see that under that, I'm going to say in my experience, it's been under 500, and you're seeing very strong movement.
Okay.
So, which is why we go back to, those first two steps. You
Yeah.
got to be prepared. So you need to come out the gate with your best foot forward.
Absolutely.
Already pre-approved, already ready to go, and knowing what your numbers are, because we don't have enough inventory. I mean, in a perfect world, it would be balanced, but it's always going to be, one side versus the other,
Yes.
as far as that goes.
And with that said, going back to your question, Sherelle, about so what's the process for that first time home buyer? So now that you got your financing in place and then we sit down, we have a consultation. So we sit down, we set out first of all, what are your expectations? What is it that you want? What are you looking for? And then we build our search around that, and we educate you on what this entire process is, showing you what the absorption rate, showing you what it's going to look like when we actually get out there and we start shopping for that property, and making sure that your expectations and our reality and what's available to you, so that again, it's all about educating and showing you what's available, and then we go shopping and we get you the home. Now, I like to say my team
And
and
hold on 1 second. We do have a caller. I
Okay.
want to make sure we don't lose the caller.
Okay, don't lose
Okay.
the caller.
Hello, caller. Can I help you? Are you there, caller?
They're shy.
Okay, well, go ahead while we're doing this.
So what I like to say is my team and I, in the market that we're in, where there is a shortage of inventory, and depending again on the price point, we tend to do some unconventional things. We will go out and we will door knock in communities where we know that our buyers would love to live if it's within their price point. I mean, you never know. I mean, we see that when one house goes on the market and they're going so quickly that within 30 days another house will eventually go up for sale. So we want to know, hey, are you considering selling? Because we've got buyers out here, so we do those things that a lot of people may not be willing to do, kind of think out of the box to make sure that our buyers are able to get out here and at least find the home of their dreams, or at least their starter home to get started in home ownership.
When I think about the industry that you all are in, I think about service.
It is definitely
And
that.
whenever you're in a business of delivering service, there are always the ideal customer and also the customers that you would rather not deal with. And so what's an ideal customer like?
One that is coachable.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to be coachable. Again, we have the consultation, and then we have to determine during that consultation period that we are a match.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, just like each one of us sitting up here today, we all have something in common. Nonetheless, there's something that we all can, we just mesh. There, we know that we can work together. And that's the first thing. One, being coachable, being understanding, because again, my job is to serve you, but I look at it as a partnership. There's a give and take. Listen, this is what's out here. I'm not going to leave you. Whether I work with a team or not, I'm available to you from beginning to end. You always have access, in a sense that as long as I'm not on another appointment or in church or doing Listen Vision Live with you, I'm going to take your call, or I'm going to respond to your text message.
Right.
And we're gonna walk you through that whole process because it is a journey, and we're grateful and to be a part of it. But by the same token, we need to make sure that we can work together. And if we can't, it's okay, because maybe I'm not the right fit. There's enough agents out there, and I'm not going to be the agent to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to give you the facts based on what's available to us, and I'm going to work with you to make sure your needs are met, because it's not about me, it's about you and serving your family. And if we can do that, we're going to deliver, because it's all about customer service, and that's what we aim for, is like your 100% credit, payments on time. We like 100% customer service and above, because it is about service. That's what it is. We are service.
You kicked on something right there. Really, I think it's about, and it all boils down to, in my opinion, communication.
Amen.
Right.
Having open communication, being able to be accessible and get things done. It's a stressful process.
Yes.
As the doc mentioned, buying a house is a stressful
is.
process.
It
I'm
is.
not going to sugarcoat it. It's fun, it's all that, but it's emotional too. You're writing offers, you already see little Johnny in the backyard, then they come back and say it's been outbid, and now we got to do it again, and you can be on a roller coaster.
Yes, up
so
and
the
down.
goal for me and my team is to remove some of that stress.
Yes.
So we try to make it look like it's easy, but honestly, there's about 88 points of turbulence that can happen in a real estate transaction, and then our goal is to facilitate that for you on the back end. So your sole focus is finding a home, for your family that's going to actually meet your needs.
And
Well,
let's see if we can take this call.
Okay,
again.
go ahead.
Okay.
They call back. Hello, caller. Can we help you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Welcome.
Hello?
Yes.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, this is Alan from Virginia, and I have a question.
Sure.
I understand that the feds may adjust the interest rates at least a couple of times this year, and I was wondering, how would that affect the mortgage rates as we go forward?
Good question.
Question.
So, Alan, that is a great question. Effectively, what happens, just to make it a real short answer, is that interest rates will continue to rise. And when that happens, then people's buying power is less. That doesn't mean not buy a home. Historically, if you look at the overall pictures, people bought homes when they were in double-digit percentages because it was, again, security for their family, as well as a way to build a nest egg to start moving forward. So interest rates are expected to continue to rise as the Fed does adjust the rates. Now, truthfully, the Fed funds rate is not tied to mortgages, so we have a bigger picture of what's going on with what you're seeing when interest rates go up. They had announced some time ago that they were going to stop buying the mortgage bonds and let them go into the free market. So basically, the government was subsidizing the housing market.
Right.
So now we have pulled back on that and letting it be free market. With that in mind, the rates are actually going up. With the bond. So that's pretty much what's happening. Rates will rise, buying power will be a little less, but I would not let that actually deter. If you look at a 20-year average of what rates actually have been, we just got spoiled, like we do in America.
Yes.
When we kept saying it, but nobody believed it. I mean, when you start talking money at long term at 3%, in the 3%, that's like free money.
Right.
So it's not too late to buy. When is the best time to buy? When you're ready.
Right.
All right. All right. So whatever the rates are, get ready when you're
Yes.
ready to, stop paying someone else's mortgage, no matter what those rates actually are. Great question, though, Alan.
Yeah, it's
Thank
great
you,
question,
Thank you
Alan.
for calling in. Can I ask you something
Right,
about?
thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you.
I want to ask you something about,
Right.
what when someone sits down with you and you're going over with them how much they can purchase, what their buying power, their purchasing power is. Do you have a conversation about, look, you could really buy a $300,000 house. However, these are some other things that you may need to consider to make sure that you can afford that house in the long term.
Absolutely. So, yes, we actually do. In that buyer consultation, say this is your ceiling. But one of the questions that I start my consultation with is asking you questions. And one of the questions is, what are you comfortable paying? What are you comfortable paying on a monthly basis? And if you tell me it's $1,500, even though you could buy a house at $500,000 based on our numbers, but remember, a loan officer is only looking at a couple of things. We're looking at your gross income. So that's before Uncle Sam
Right.
got in your pocket.
Right.
All
Right.
So, and you know that's
Right.
probably your biggest bill for real if you look at it. And then we're only talking about your debts that appear on credit. We're not even talking about little shoes for Johnny and some food and maybe that gas that y'all talked about. We're only talking about what appears on credit when we're determining what your buying powers are by our standards.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so you definitely have the conversation that I want you to go with the payment that fits into your budget. Oh, you haven't done a budget. Okay, well, let me send you this so you can gotta go through your numbers too and say what's going to actually work for me if I start looking at all of my costs in this transaction, right? So yes, you might could buy 500,000, but a payment at 300,000 is where you're most comfortable. But many times, again, it's an emotional thing. What
Yes.
happens? We
And
get
you see
out
the
there,
house.
our eyes get bigger, and somehow I can rationalize I'm
Yes.
not going to Starbucks.
Yes.
You know, I'm just not going to do it, right? Or I figure out a way that I can try to start trimming the numbers. That's part one. And then I just want to leave with part two on that is also I talk to people about the dual income trap. Okay? Because it's real. And we've seen that where, you know, before if you had a job, it was stable, you kept it, it was cool, 30 years, same place. But what if somebody loses their job? And you just qualified at the top of your buying power based on both those incomes. Now, if one of those incomes are gone, instantly we're house rich and cash poor. Instantly we're on the struggle bus.
Yes.
Now we're feeling like we're a prisoner trying to pay for the actual house.
Yes.
So I'm like, hey guys, let's look at, you know, what can we do with if one of the incomes went away? You know, being conservative in that, especially for first-time home buyers that are entering into the market. And like I said, I know it looks good on paper, but sometimes we just need to be realistic.
Yes.
Because I don't want to just get you a house. I want to keep
Keep
you
the
in the
house.
house.
Right.
Stay in the house,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, let me just say this as a homeowner. It's important for you to feel connected to your realtor, because when you go to settlement and they put that stack of papers in front of you that you don't even have time to read, but you initialing here and signing there, and it's important for you to be able to trust that what your realtor is telling you these papers say, that's actually what they say, because that could be a very scary thing. You know, we were taught you don't sign your name on anything unless you read it. When they put that stack of papers in front of you, you can't read it. You would be there for 13 weeks trying to figure out what it says and really a base level of understanding of what it says.
Absolutely.
And at that point too, you're not trying to read it. You're trying to get the keys.
Right.
Because even though you love
stressed
Jennifer,
out.
you're ready
Yes.
to go get in
Yes.
the house now. So
Move.
yes, it's like I said, you don't really learn how to ride a bike. You just until you ride a bike. So you don't know how to buy a house until you actually go through the process of buying a house. So you definitely need somebody that's going to be trusting you and guiding you through the process, especially that first time around.
And we have another caller. Let's
Okay.
take our caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question?
Hi, I have a question. Yes, what is a good price range for a first-time home buyer in Alexandria, Virginia? And it's a compound question. So secondly, also I would like to ask, what are the advantages in buying a condo versus a townhome?
That's a good question. That's a good
Wow,
question.
That is a great question. So I'm going to first thank you for that, caller. I'll go ahead and start it. But the first question is, what is a good price for a home in Alexandria, Virginia? Well, again, it depends on your budget.
Depends on your income.
And your income, your budget, all of that. That's number one. Once that is determined, what your buying power, as Marquita just mentioned, it's what's comfortable for you long term and what's affordable to you. Because, like she said, you know, you never know things that you don't prepare for. For example, maintenance on that car, or that
You know that costs a
or
fortune.
something. You know, unfortunately,
Life.
sometimes life
happens.
happens.
Life will happen.
Right.
So you
Yes.
have to be in position for that. Now the question as to what's the advantage between I think it was a home versus a condo. Again, it depends on your choice, your lifestyle. One of the biggest advantages, it depends on how you want to look at it, but living in a condominium, you're responsible for the interior, wall to wall, your heart, your HVAC, those things. So you don't have to worry with the maintenance of the exterior, managing your lawn, the roof repair, maybe, not in all cases, in condominiums, are you responsible for the windows, replacing those windows? That is managed. So you own all that common area with the other owners within that building.
Yes.
That's condominium ownership. when you own a townhouse or that is not in a condominium or a single family, that's fee simple, meaning you own it all. This is all yours. From the outside, the inside, you're responsible for cutting the grass. It just depends on what is important to you and going forward. Do you want a maintenance-free life? Maybe you travel a lot. Maybe you're that person, I don't have time to deal with the upkeep of the exterior, making sure that the roof, whatever could go wrong on your exterior of the home. You just want to keep your home, just maintain the inside to suit your lifestyle. So give us a call or hit us up. Talk to the sisters. They can connect you with Marquita or I, and we can find out what's the right path for you.
And one of the things too, when you go into buying a home is you need to know about those homeowner association fees or those condo fees, because those are very real.
That's
And they want their money on time every month. and in some cases, those fees are significant.
They're very significant. And with condominiums, see, you have to be careful. And again, this is why education is key, and sitting down and having that consultation.
And we got the educator of the year here, so
we got it right here. and we partner together,
Okay.
but sometimes that does include your utilities. So just give us a call and we can go into further detail about that and help coach you and walk you through
What's your
this whole
website?
process. Visit me at www.agent4thepeople.com.
And how can I get in contact with you? Because we have
We can
10
get
seconds.
with me at the queenofmortgages.com.
Yeah.
all right.
Queenofmortgages.com.
Well, thank you, ladies. This was very
Yes,
good.
absolutely.
Thank you,
Thank you
audience.
all.
Thank you all for calling in. We appreciate you all. We'll see you next Sunday. Sisters and Company talking about it at 3:00.
All right.
Thank you, ladies. That was